Rick, I'm connecting from home from Lake Como, but Rick, you said that you are happy to be here with us virtually. When did you attend Domus Academy? It was 10 years ago, right? So a while ago.
Yeah, it was 2010. So it is almost like 11 years past.
Then, Rick, you, after the school, you lived in Milano for a few years, right? Before coming back to Korea, South Korea.
Yes, I actually lived in Italy, in Milan, actually, for 11 years, working and traveling, launching my brand. Yeah, I spent most of my time in Milan, but I always traveled. Yeah.
So, Rick, you attended the master in fashion design, and then you worked in Italy, as just you said, for more than 10 years, 11 years. But in 2014, you founded your own eponymous brand, Rick Rhe, about women's wear, right? And accessories for girls, for very pretty girls.
Yes. Actually, I launched my own brand in Milan, and I still launch my brands produced in Italy and in Europe till now. It's been almost 8 years. Yeah, still growing, and unfortunately, the COVID-19 has stopped all the activities for the fashion designers, but I will get back soon. Yeah, actually in Milan, that even though I launched my brand in Milan, that I sell through the international channel, through the showrooms and the fashion shows and distributors. So at the moment, we are selling around 30 countries and 50 shops, department stores, and the boutiques and the multi-brand shops. The important thing is that when I launched my collections, I produced also in Italy. Basically, that I sourced a lot of fabric from your city in Como, and as you can see, that my collection is basically 70% dedicated to textile design. So which means that I design my own textile, print, embroidery, and jacquard. So I visit many times in Como to print my fabric and develop my own fabric. So Como is actually my second hometown. Right there as well. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah, there are many factories and companies. We don't need to mention them, but the biggest, the most important in the world, producing also for big brands such as Louis Vuitton, Ferragamo, right, Chanel. So I'm happy that you are using, let's say, the craftsmanship and also the industrial production and silk and textile of Como, that is one of the most important districts in the world for textile.
Yeah, Como is very important city, not just for the craftsmanship, but also innovation and the very recent technology for the print and the textile industry. So,
Enrique, I have been teaching at Domus Academy for many years, but I think less than when you attended school. So I suppose that you had the opportunity to get to know the Como area and factories, maybe because of the school. You visited the factories with your class, or let's say you visited them after the school. How was your course? I think that usually at school we take the students into the real world of working life.
I visit 10 years ago. Actually, we had a collaboration work with Stefanel. They are based in Treviso. Yeah, we visit the headquarters in the Treviso for Stefanel. So what you're seeing at the screen right now, one of these garments actually produced by Stefanel that they chose my thesis work, and they use the Shimashiki, the machine for knitwear, and they produced one prototype for me, and then I used also the Shimashiki knitwear machine to produce this kind of, the knit jacquard. So that one was the one of my most important experience during the Domus Academy.
The workshop with Stefanel and to...
Yeah, it was my final thesis project. It was a study about the digitalize the human body. So I tried to scan 3D scan of a woman's body. I collaborate with another American research center for scanning. It was like 10 years ago. So at that time, 3D scan on the body wasn't so usual things. So I had to ask many company and the research on this kind of, ergonomic research on the human body. And then I tried to, use this kind of three-dimensional data to use the to transfer to Shimashiki, which is the knitwear machine. So from the research to the fabric, that it has the research-based story on the fabric. Yeah, that's the story about this project. And
Enrique, but also this is part of Stefanel collection, right?
Yes, it's very different from their images because the Stefanel also is very professional, feminine, and modern. But I wanted to propose very, avant-garde and experimental. As I said that before, experimental work for the human body, and then transfer the data to the knitwear machine for whole garment knitwear machines that I was very interested.
And Enrique, do you remember other workshops, other project that you did at Domus Academy?
Actually, we had, the Maurizio Galante, which is one of my favorite designer, and I still very admire him. And we had Frankie Morello.
Wow.
And one of my favorite project was about the glam technology, that we collaborate with interaction design department and the fashion department. And we had also Malmö University in Sweden, that they support technically digital devices, Arduino, those kind of smart textile that I had experienced. So, way of, innovations in fashion and the future fashion that I had, it was first time that I experienced at Domus Academy. I don't know, you guys still doing that kind of, fashion innovation thesis, but it was very interesting. So that inspiration that I got from the course, I'm still, teaching those kind of future fashion and the fashion innovation in Korea.
But Rick, but before Domus Academy, you studied textile fashion and textile design in Seoul. So you already studied something like this, or it was different? So Domus Academy was, let's say, the next step.
Actually, that my bachelor major was textile and fashion, and I also took a BA for industrial design in the product design. So I tried to combine my background in two different sections. And probably those experiences that it helps me to think about new things like fashion innovation and the fashion future as well.
And Rick, right after school, what did you do? Stefanel was your final project. And then this is, let's say, the big question marks for our students, let's say, the quantum jump to the working life. So
yeah, actually between 2011 to 2014 that I had a work experience from many Italian brands like Pirelli P Zero and Valextra and Dainese, and also Amsterdam Fashion in Italy. And also after 2014 that I also worked for, collaborate with many Chinese brands as well. But I always based in Milan. So I was very lucky that when I graduate, I had a few opportunities right after the degree exhibition and the shows. So I had some, the proposals from knitwear companies. So at that time, I wasn't so interested in the knitwear. So I waited till the Pirelli, P Zero launched their own, design studio in Milan. So when they opened the design studio, I had a chance to join the team, follow my design director, whose name is Renato Montaner. And basically, I follow all of his projects for not only for the Pirelli P Zero, but also like Valextra, Dainese, Fila, and the Italian independent. We had so many design consultancy work for mainly sportswear and technical sportswear. Yeah, that's my initial career that I had the experience. And then from 2014 that I launched my brand, but I still work for the other brands for Dainese. We launched a new brand from 2014, 15, 16. So I followed all these brands as a creative director for that new brand. So yeah, almost 2 or 3 years that I followed my brand and the Dainese together. Yeah.
wow. But let's see that looking at this jacket and looks, it was more about, as you said, sportwear and technical apparel, and also menswear, right? But then your own brand is about women, girls, more romantic. So Rick, you love both women's wear and menswear, or your heart is more into women collection, or you can manage both the same way?
Okay, I think I have two phases. First one, as I said before, that I love something very innovative and futuristic, and something very ergonomic, the human engineering based design. So probably the first part, I was influenced by the industrial design experience that I from the bachelor. And then the second one, I would say, is like a pure artistic imagination through the textile design. So for me, textile design is something like telling your story and telling my story through the textile. So I can do like very free. I was very free when I designed textile and developing new fabric. So I think that is big differences between. Also, the first part, I usually work for the other companies, and the second part is working basically my companies. So it's two different work and very separated, and then never gonna wrap up together, because also it's good for keeping your secret to other companies, and then I also keep their secret for their competitors as well. Yeah.
Rick, you are a creative soul, two souls, more technical and sportwear, and more, let's say, romantic and textile and creative. And then you are also a businessman because you founded your own brand and, let's say, business. And we had a call last week to prepare this conversation, and there was a Jean next to you. So Jean is your business partner, is your wife that she works with you?
Oh yeah, actually she's the commercial people. That she manages all the showrooms and distributors and organizing trade shows as well. So, and all the communication for the buyers, and you know, she follows all these kind of commercial things.
The commercial thing.
Yeah, but you know, the commercial things are very important for the brand sustainability. Anyway, we have to survive in this kind of commercial world. I cannot just do whatever I want, you know, to design or to express myself. So I think the commercial part is always very important.
So she says you what, let's say, what direction to take to be very appealing in terms of commerce, and or she gave you carte blanche, total freedom, or as you said, you have to balance your own inspiration and creativity with what the audience and maybe the fashion market.
Yeah, actually, that is still very challenging things because also I have to listen the feedback from the buyers and the people from the showrooms and distributors. That is also very important, but more importantly, that you have to speak, or I have to speak my own voice and the originality and the authenticity of the design. I think that is the crucial part. But in a way, the commercial the aspects are very important for not only for me, but for the people that work for me and the collaborators. So that is I think the one of the most important things.
And Rick, the first image that we had was from Vogue Italia.
Yeah.
Was your debut, but your name is Rick Rhe, but then your brand, you see here, became Rick Rhe. Rick Rhe is your real last name, right? Why at the beginning it was another trademark, let's say another name of the brand?
Yeah, when I launched, I put my surname. So the Korean surname, Lee, is like most common surname in Korea. I think around 30% of the population has the Lee for their surname. So I put the Lee as my brand name. But when I tried to register my trademark in Europe for 5 countries, I had a problem that my registration was opposed by the denim brand Lee. So I couldn't use my name for my brand. So I had to change another name. It sounds very similar, but in different logo and a different word. So I come up with the RHE. So the pronunciation is the same, but just the word and the logos are different. So I changed this logo and the word in 2015. So
just 1 year later.
Yeah, it was almost 2 years. It took 2 years. I started a lawyer in Italy, but I couldn't make it initially. So I had to change a lawyer in Germany. So finally, I got this my trademark.
And how about the design of this trademark that is quite Gothic?
Yeah, actually, the design I actually designed, and I was inspired by the digital world. You know, in the computer world, that you have the digital code, which is the number 1 and number 0. So when you see the movie Matrix, when you see the Matrix poster, there is a, you know, the number is falling down. So yeah, I inspired by that. So I try to put those kind of graphic on my name. So the message is about, you know, that there is, I always believe that there is some other word like Matrix. So I put this logo graphic on my logo.
Rick, are you going to, let's say, expand your brand also into menswear, or for now just women's wear? It's enough.
I think I should more focus on the female women's wear, because sometimes I consultant for the menswear brands. For instance, in China, that I design for the menswear. But you know that if I launch the menswear, it's totally different story. That I have to work with another factories and the factories. You know, I have to follow the global, you know, the menswear schedule. So which is not so easy to follow all this.
Rick, you can do menswear with your collaboration. So
yeah, I should do collaborate with another companies for menswear. I'm more interested in kidswear.
Kidswear?
Yeah.
This is a big market, right? Kidswear.
Yeah,
Also pets. It seems that no, pets maybe is not your. But in Italy, people are also crazy about accessory for pets. This is, but kidswear is a very big market, and moms do care about their children. Rick, you also design shoes, or you have someone that does that for you in the company?
I always collaborate with another designers, shoes designers and accessory designers. So this designer, she's from Taiwan, but I met her in Milan. We were in the same exhibitions and the same showroom, so we kind of get to know each other, and we always travel together. For instance, in Paris and New York, I carry her collection in my booth and in my showroom, and we did fashion shows together. So I'm still working with these designers. Her name is Absence. The brand name is Absence. So she's doing very well. And
good. Rick, are you still in contact with some classmates from Domus Academy, or?
Actually, I still connect with Barbara, which is our director.
Yeah, she was the director at that time.
I had a few students that still, sometimes we sending messages, but not so many.
Not so many.
Yeah.
Rick, what is, let's say, the best advice that you received at school from maybe Barbara, or from from the teacher or some companies?
Yeah, actually, the advice from the Domus, it was so many. So I cannot tell you just one, but I would like to tell you just for the students that are watching us, there is only one that I really admire and I really like. That the word actually is from the Martin Scorsese, which is the film director. He told that the most personal thing, the most personal is the most creative. So, which means that your interest and your favorite and finding yourself is very important for all kind of creative people or designers and artists. So the finding yourself and your personal interest is one of the most important things for the creative people.
And Rick, so what are your interests and your passions and hobbies beside fashion?
Actually, that's a tough question.
Because
Yeah, I love movies, but most of time that my interest is actually I love the clothes.
You love.
Clothes, shoes and bags, you know, all kind of this kind of products I really love. And also I love to watching people.
To watch
Especially
people how they dress, how they move, how they walk.
yeah, especially in Milan, there are so many bars outside. So doing nothing, you know, and then watching people and the observation, the people, their style, and then, you know, imagination, what they're doing. These kind of things are very helpful and also kind of mindset and relax. It's good for the design activity. Actually, I really suggest to the students to do like just watching people is really
Yeah,
important.
because you can learn a lot also to not to give them what they want, because you are the fashion designer, and as you said, you have to follow your personality and creativity, but also in terms of comfort, right, of clothes.
Yes,
Because sometimes fashion designer and brands are amazing, but then when you wear them, you cannot move, right? So
yeah, it has to be practical and comfortable as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there is some brands from Europe, but also from South Korea, from China, America, that you admire. You mentioned Maurizio Galante at the beginning, but there are other international brands that you like and you wear. What do
Yeah,
you wear, Rick?
actually, there are so many designers that I really admire, but to summarize, I can pick just two legendary designers. The first one is the Martin Marziella, and then the second one probably Hussein Shalayan.
Ah,
Yeah, the reason why I always admire them, the both of them are the famous, very famous in deconstruction in the fashion. So they are the deconstructive people and very innovative and also very revolutionary in the fashion history. And also in terms of their personality, I think that they are very humble. So one of my friends actually used to work for the Hussein Chalet as a pattern maker. And he always told me that Hussein Chalet is a very good person. And he also was very impressed by his personality. You know, I know it is very hard that good people to find good people in fashion business. You know, so yeah, that is the reason that I really admire two people. And
and
yeah,
also maybe, I don't know if you like also Comme des Garçons, that I would say is really about the construction as well, right? Of volume, shapes, and
yeah. Comme des Garçons is also another deconstruction, you know, deconstruction in fashion. Also Yoji Yamamoto as well. Yeah, but there are so many. I cannot tell you just one.
Rick, if you have to hire for an internship or for a job, a student,
Yeah.
what skills are you going to consider?
As you probably know that I had many students from the Domus Academy. I did it for 3 years, almost 3 years. I took students in my studio as a internship program. So I had many Domus former students in my studio. So
yeah, Rick, it's funny. I got a message from a student, Akansha, that is a student of mine from India. She's very curious because she would love to apply.
actually, I had many Indian students as well. I still remember and I still contact them during this pandemic era, especially India was at the moment is very serious. So I had 3 students from India. One is Shagun, I still remember, and sometimes I text her messages, how she's going and doing well. So your question, the first thing is, I think the skill, design skill, basic design skill that you should definitely have is technical drawing.
But Rick, this is tough because you said that you want design skills, of course. But beside the design skills, what other soft skills are you looking at? For example, I don't know, empathy, ability to work on team, ability to work under pressure. Because I'm reading a few books about the skills and working life, and it seems that once you are good at doing something, maybe it's not enough. There are also need of soft skills to be complete.
Actually, this is not actually skill. It's fundamental things that I tell you. That the first thing is that I think the personality, especially in the fashion business. So everybody is very stressful when they work, not just for designers, but also the sales people and the press people. You know, the journalists are very stressful. You know, they are strong and tough, you know, has a big shoulder, and they always have the power. And the buyers also like that. They are like very snobby, usually very snobby, and you know, so this kind of, you know, very stressful situation, like daily life, that you have to, in a way, that you have to get used to it. This kind of people. So my experience, always good personality and good manners are very important. No matter what kind of situation and bad situation you have, you can overcome if you have like good manners and good personality. And the second one, I think, is the passion. Passion for your lifetime and passion for fashions. And without passion, that it is very hard work and hard job that to follow in top business.
Rick, there was a moment in your career that you said, bye, I'm super tired. Bye, I give up because this is too tough. This is too challenging.
Actually, I never had that moment.
You never had that moment?
Never gave up, actually. I think that is one of things that proud of myself is I never gave up. And even though I failed, I still doing it. I think that is the my passion, that to keep going is very important.
Rick, my last question. You were a Domus Academy student, but then you were collaborating with Domus Academy for a few years because you lived in Milano. So you were a mentor, you were a teacher. What did you prefer? Do you prefer to being a student, or you prefer being a mentor, a teacher? Or what is the deal?
Actually, I want to go back to as a student.
As a student?
Yeah, go back in like if I can take a time machine, I want to go back again in the Domus Academy, because doing this, you know, daily routine as a fashion designer, I feel like I should study more, or I should research more in many different aspects, pattern makings and research, new technologies. So actually, I'm studying for teaching my students as well. I'm writing thesis, reading, you know, the journal for, you know, academic journals from the US, also from Korea. And in our university, we have also doctor course as well. So I have to teach them as well. So I have to do study and teach.
So I think that in a way is almost the same, because also when we teach, we have to be updated, and at the same time we learn ourselves teaching, because we research, we prepare lectures, we visit factories, shops. So for me, being involved in Domus Academy is like learning a lot myself, trying to teach students, and also I learn a lot from them, because they are from different countries, cultures, they are super fresh. They can give me a lot of insights, and so
my experience, and I mean my education or teaching experience at Domus was also very important. That I decided to leave Italy, becoming a professor in Korea, and then working as a fashion designer together. The reason that I decided was Domus Academy, my experience at the Domus Academy, that I learned so many things from during I teach my students, and then the students from the working at my studio, that I learned really a lot. So that's why I left Italy and then decided to do teaching as a professor. Yeah.
well, maybe you can come back and give some lecture at Domus Academy sometimes.
Yeah, actually, I had to travel a lot, Milan, Paris, twice a year or 4 times a year. So I will definitely going back to the Domus Academy.